everyone, it's Sean from What Up, and welcome back to another video. And what a week for the Wheel of Time. It's only 15 days till the premiere of Season 2 at the time of this recording. That's September 1st of this year. And we've had a ton of news drop this week. Now, we don't have a traditional marketing campaign that we would expect or would like for the Season 2 of the Wheel of Time, which I hope doesn't hurt the show, but there was a ton of interviews recorded prior to the WGA and the SAG strikes, and they're all being released right now. So there's a ton of online and print interviews. We're going to go through a bunch of them here on the channel today, including all the interesting bits that are in them. And I've left links to each and every one of those interviews down below in the description box if you folks want to go check them out in full, because we don't have the time to go through them all. There's also a ton of YouTube videos. Like there is an absolute ton of interviews with different YouTube channels ranging from very small channels with 2,000 to 3,000 subscribers up to channels with millions of subscribers, but none of the videos are getting the views that I think they deserve. So they were out on Twitter, they're out there floating around for the fandom, but I don't know if everyone in the fandom has gotten a hold of these interviews yet because they're kind of varied and not really being promoted except for the people that actually watch those channels. So I'm going to leave a big list down below in the description box, and I will create a playlist for you as well as I find them, and we're going to talk about them just a little bit at the end of the video. Now, also today, we're going to go through all of the character posters that were released this week for Wheel of Time Wednesday. There's a ton of info here. They all came with a little special tagline, and there's a little game that the Wheel of Time X account, I guess it's not Twitter anymore, I think I said Twitter earlier, played with some of the fandom, trying to get them to be released. But there is a few surprising people missing, and we're going to talk about that in these posters as well. While I'm very happy with what we got, I'm a little shocked they didn't include a few select people, and we'll talk about that as well as we go through the posters. So, at this point, if you don't know what we do, it's pretty much self-evident. We cover Wheel of Time show news, everything and anything about the Wheel of Time, everything from official stuff from production up to and including rumors and leaks and everything in between, and the odd exclusive. Look for a bunch of Season 3 exclusives coming from me in the next coming weeks and months. May leave some of them for after the end of Season 2 to kind of build hype for Season 3. But either way, there's a ton of stuff coming, and you're not going to want to miss it. Plus, I'll do reviews, breakdowns, Easter egg videos, all kinds of stuff for every episode of the Wheel of Time when Season 2 comes out. If you like that sort of thing, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and, of course, like the video. Now, we're going to dive into these posters, and the taglines are inherently spoilery. There's a ton of stuff in these taglines that I was very shocked that they released along with the posters, considering how the fandom feels about spoilers. So I'm going to have to give a full book spoiler rating for just the posters. I'm going to leave a link down below in the description box for you folks to jump ahead to when I talk about the articles as well as the YouTube videos, because I want to talk about the posters first, and I have to give a huge spoiler warning for that. So if you don't care about spoilers, totally fine. But if you do care about spoilers, spoiler warning. In the first section of this video, I'm talking about the posters that were revealed for Wheel of Time Wednesday, including the taglines. And they are inherently incredibly spoilery, which shocked me just a little bit. So if you haven't read the entire series of the Wheel of Time by both Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, that's everything from The Eye of the World, including New Spring, the prequel novel, all the way up to and including A Memory of Light, where the series ends. Be forewarned, I'm going to ruin plot points and character arcs from the entire series. Again, if you want to jump ahead of these posters and get right to where I talk about the interviews, there is a little bit in the description box down below that links to the time when I start talking about that. All right, all that being said, let's get on to the video. All right, so we're going to talk about these posters again, inherently pretty spoilery in the taglines, but I want to give full credit to JordanCon's Instagram page. That's where I got the taglines from, because not all of them were in English, and I'm terrible at languages. They translated them for all of us, and I want to thank them so very much for that. So I've left a link to their Instagram down below. If you're a Wheel of Time fan, please follow their Instagram. It's absolutely fantastic. They release all kinds of Wheel of Time stuff all the time. And I've also left a link to JordanCon's website down below. If you're in the US and you don't know what JordanCon is probably the oldest and best Wheel of Time convention. It happens once a year in April, and I've never been able to go because it's a bit of a trek for me. However, I've lived vicariously through content creators and my friends that have gone, and it looks to be the absolute best time ever. It's a week-long geeky party celebrating the Wheel of Time. So if you can make it there, please go get your tickets early. All right, so each of these posters seems to have a little story being told along with the tagline, and the tagline for this one with Moraine and Lan is "Student of Anansi and Edian, though their teachings varied greatly." Now, if you're new to the channel, you're going to notice I'm going to mispronounce a ton of stuff. It's just the way it is. I'm bad at it. even though things I know how to pronounce, it's going to come out of my mouth wrong. And I apologize for that in advance. Feel free to call me out in the comments down below and correct me. I don't mind at all. I do my best, but I'm not very good with any languages, including my own English. So there you go. So what does this mean? Well, Anansi is a poet that's one of Moiraine's favorite poets, and Lan actually quotes it when they're visiting Lord Elgmar in the Eye of the World. Really neat reference to that. And then the other person that they're talking about, Idian, she was Lan's first love. Happened a little bit varied teachings there. It's kind of a play on words, I guess, but neat nonetheless. In this poster, it shows Lan. Lan does not look happy. He's behind Moiraine, kind of looking at her, and Moraine's looking as stoic as she normally does. But through all the promotional material we've seen so far, we know that Moiraine is cut off from the One Power at the beginning of season 2, and that she's angry, she's frustrated, and she's pushing away those that love and protect her. So I'm guessing Lan's probably very unhappy with her because of these reasons, and that's why he's behind her looking a little disgruntled in the poster. Either way, a beautiful poster. I love seeing character posters. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so the next character poster features Rand and Selene. Now, Selene is Lanfear, as we all know, one of the Forsaken from the books. In all the promotional material they've talked about in the press releases, she's billed as a innkeeper from Cairhien. So that's kind of neat. She's going to be introduced in just a little bit different way than perhaps in the book series. I think maybe Rand will still meet her on the road, or perhaps he'll meet her in Cairhien while he's there. I really don't know, but either way, they've been sort of shipped together, so to speak, in a bunch of the promotional material. So they're teasing that sort of relationship in the second season, which is kind of neat. Now, the tagline for this one is Soul of Fire, Heart of Stone, in pride he conquers, forcing the proud to yield. That is a direct quote from the Carithian cycle, the Prophecies of the Dragon, which is very, very neat. Rand is sort of embracing the fact that he's the dragon a little bit more. I think he's running from it more than anything else in season 2. There's been a lot of promotional material suggesting that, but I love the fact that they're leaning into it and the mystery is over and we know that Rand's a dragon and we can start building the world upon that. Either way, an absolutely gorgeous character poster here. And the funny thing about this is they never really officially announced Lanfear. WatSeries.com broke who Lanfear was. They released the casting, and it was sort of a big leak that went through the fandom a few weeks ago. WatSeries.com leaks all kinds of stuff. It's fantastic. If you don't know who they are, I left a link also to their website down below in the description box. They come up with more Wheel of Time news than everyone else combined. But we all knew that Selene was in the second season. We all knew that Selene or Lanfear, we knew their actress because of WatSeries, and Amazon has finally actually officially confirmed the actress. They've officially confirmed that Selene is in the second season, that she's an innkeeper in Cairhien, which is really very neat. Either way, really neat character poster showing Rand and Selene. All right, so the next character poster features Liandrin and Nynaeve. Really very neat poster here. I love seeing Nynaeve in her... in this case, it looks like Novice White. I don't see the rainbow bands around the cuffs, so she's a Novice White in this one, not an Accepted White. So this is pre-Accepted test, which we know happens in the second season. We've also seen promotional material where she's wearing the rainbow bands at the hems of her skirt and on her sleeves, so we know what happens. But this is really very neat, and the tagline for this one is kind of neat. It's Daughter of the Tree of Man, Child of the Fruited Trees. I believe that refers to Terrebonne, where Liandrin hails from, so it's talking about the fact that she's from that country in the Wheel of Time. Really kind of a neat little tagline for this very, very impressive character poster. All right, so the next character poster features Elaine Tracan in the background with no belt knife, completely unprepared, just kind of standing there looking at the camera, and Egwene. Now, Egwene, of course, has a belt knife. She's always prepared for everything that may come her way, and I'm pretty excited to see the two of them interact in the second season. Now, the tagline for this one is pretty interesting. Now, this is part of the reason why I gave full spoiler warnings for the entire video, and it's Corian's heiress and Crystal Weaver. She wields great earthly power. Now, this is to do with Egwene. Now, Egwene, Corian was an early dreamer, or one of the first dreamers in the White Tower, and we know that Egwene is a dreamer in the series, and we're likely going to start seeing that in the second season if this tagline is any indication. But Crystal Weaver, now, you folks can let me know in the comments down below if I'm wrong on this one, but this, I think, directly refers to the last battle and the anti-balefire that she wove that basically saved reality. And to me, that is massive spoilers. Really, really big spoilers. It's part of the reason I gave the entire spoiler tag for the whole series for this particular character poster. But let me know in the comments down below what you folks think. Am I right in that? I think I am. I can't think of it being any other way. And the great earthly power... that could be the fact that she's very strong on Earth and she's being captured by the Shan-Chan in the second season, and they were remarked quite a lot on her strength in Earth in The Great Hunt. Either way, let me know in the comments down below what you think that tagline means. All right, so the next character poster features Egwene and Perrin. Egwene, of course, in full Aiel splendor as a Maiden of the Spear, and Perrin, Lord Perrin, Golden Eyes, excuse me, in the foreground there. The circle in the background, or the sun, is purple instead of gold, and I think that's more of an artistic choice so it doesn't clash with Perrin's eyes, but who knows? There could be something else there. Let me know in the comments down below if I'm wrong on that or if you have a different theory. But the tagline for this one is pretty neat. It's kin to Noam, but cousin of Billy. Ma'alanir reveals his destiny. Now, this refers to Perrin. Noam was, of course, one of the wolf brothers he met along the way that completely lost his mind and turned into a wolf. He was a wolf in man form, and Perrin was horrified throughout the rest of the series that he may turn into him. And Billy refers to Billy Adara, a distant cousin of Perrin's from the Two Rivers. That probably is a direct reference to the fact that he's going back to the Two Rivers at some point or another soon, and that would be Season 3. And I'm not quite sure why they're teasing that sort of thing for Season 2, because we know the Battle of Two Rivers and Perrin going back there is likely happening in Season 3 due to Rafe Judkins, the showrunner's comments. And of course, Ma'alanir, and I'm probably mispronouncing that terribly, and I'm sorry for that, is the power-wrought hammer that Perrin gets much later in the series that he uses to smite Trollocs with and basically burns any shadow spawn it comes in contact with. Really very neat. Again, inherently incredibly spoilery for those people who haven't read the books, although they may not know what it means. Either way, that's why I gave the spoiler warning. All right, so in the next character poster, we have Min and Matt Cawthon, both huge fan favorites. I don't think I've met a single person who disliked Min or Matt Cawthon. If you do, let me know why you do in the comments down below, because you'd be definitely an outlier in the fandom. But the tagline for this one is, the barrel stave she is dressed in the miner's rest, and that's in reference to Min. And I'm going to guess that's a reference to Berlin, where we would have met Min in the first season if she wasn't in Faldera, because in the book series, we met her in Berlin, and they ended up cutting that and moved her to Faldera, I think just to save set space and time and whatnot. But I think it's a reference to that. If I'm wrong, or if you have a different theory on that one, of course, let me know in the comments down below. But really, a very neat character poster nonetheless. I'm really hoping we get to see Matt Cawthon stuff a whole bunch of chickens up his sleeves in the series. That's likely going to be, I hope, sometime in Season 2, because it looks like he gets healed by the dagger, but maybe Season 3, I really don't know. But I need to see him just inhale a whole bunch of chickens. It's one of my favorite scenes with Matt. All right, the final character poster features Shamel. In the background, we know that he's a Forsaken now because it's actually been announced by Amazon that he's one of the Forsaken. And of course, in the foreground, Haile the Suroth. I believe the Shan-Chan are likely taking a more focused approach in the series than they were in the book series. I think we're going to see more of them earlier. That's just a guess, though, considering how much they focused on them for the actual promotional material for Season 2. But either way, gorgeous costumes, and I can't wait to see how they deal with the Forsaken and the Dark Friends in the show, because in the book series, and I've said this a number of different times, one of the very few complaints I had about the books were I didn't feel that the Forsaken, the Dark Friends, were very 3D in the books. I think they were all very cookie cutter. They kind of all had the same motivations. Some of them were fleshed out a little bit later on in the book series, but it took a long time to get there. I hope we get to see their motivations a little bit earlier, and I hope that we get to feel for them. And we've already seen the opening scene from Season 2 that was released at minute 54 in Episode 8. If you haven't seen it yet, go to minute 54 of Episode 8 in Season 1. You'll see the opening scene for Season 2, sort of a preview. And it does give some insight into the Dark Friends and the Forsaken, and I'm really excited for that. Now, the tagline for this one is a direct reference to the prologue to The Eye of the World. Struck but not defeated at the door of the servants' hall, he healed a shattered mind to be cruel, not kind. So this is in reference to the fact that Shamel actually healed the madness from Lews Therin, so he could understand that he basically killed his whole family. And horrifying opening scene. We haven't seen it yet, but I think at some point or another we likely will see it in the series, and I can't wait for that. All right, so there was a couple character posters that I thought we were going to get that we didn't get, and I'm a little surprised at that. Maybe we'll get them at some point or another prior to release. Maybe they're going to do other promotional material with them, but they were big parts of Season 1, and one of them will be, for sure, a big part and a huge fan favorite for Season 2. So the first ones are Alana Mosfani, her warders, Maxim and Ivan. So that's Priyanka Bose, who plays Alana Mosfani, Taylor Napier, who plays Maxim, and Emmanuel, who plays Ivan. No character poster for them, which I found an odd choice. I thought that would be an excellent character poster, especially with the unique relationship that Alana has with her warders. A great opportunity for marketing. We didn't get it. Maybe we'll get it at some point before the season airs. And Mira Salal, who plays Varen, we didn't get that. Varen is a fan favorite. I am shocked they didn't do a character poster for her, because if you ask anyone at all, I am sure Varen will show up in the top 5 favorite characters of the Wheel of Time of anyone. I don't think there's a single person that dislikes Varen as a character. And her arc and her reveal, some of the best in the entire series. Little shocked they're not being used for promotional material, but there is still time. Maybe we'll see something prior to the release of Season 2. All right, so now we're going to get into a bunch of articles. Now, these articles were all over the place. There's a bunch of different ones by different places. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal a quote from each article. I'll talk about the article, and I'm going to do it in order. So I'm going to put them down below in the description box under the tagline articles. We'll talk just a smidge about each article because there's so many of them, and they're all character interviews that happened prior to the strikes. And there's a lot of really interesting stuff in them. All right, so like I said, these articles are all going to be in order down below in the description box. So everything from the first article to the last, they'll all be in order. So as I talk about them, these are just little snippets I found interesting from each article we're going to talk about here. I don't want to spoil the entire article for you. I want you folks to go read them. I want eyes on everybody that's talking about the Wheel of Time right now, because the more people that go to different fan sites, the more people that go to different big sites, the more clicks and hits they get on this, the more excited people are going to gauge the fandom's reaction for the Wheel of Time, and that includes YouTube videos. And we're going to talk about the YouTube videos in a minute after we talk about these particular articles, because I'm a little shocked at the reception they've gotten. Either way, this first article is from winterscoming.net. If you don't know who they are, they're a fantastic fan resource site and fan kind of geek culture site. Started out as a Game of Thrones thing, now does all kinds of different geek culture. Really cool site. Either way, this one is a quote from Donal Finn, and he says that what part of made his transition so smooth was how supported he felt by the cast and crew. His first days on set were with the phenomenal Kate Fleetwood, who plays Liandrin, and her director on those episodes was Thomas Napper. Basically, everything I've read, everything I've seen, and when I've been lucky enough to speak to some of the cast or the crew or people who work on the show, they're all happy. They all get along really well. They're all having a good time. Not every project that an actor and actress does is like that, but I've heard nothing but great things about the Wheel of Time, and a lot of these interviews talk about that. So I wanted to feature that, saying that they really welcomed him with open arms and helped him integrate himself into the role of Matt. After what happened with Barney Harris after the first season when he left the show, I'm sure there was some trepidation of him filling those shoes and coming into a character for a second season, and he felt completely comfortable, which is a good thing. Now, next one is from Lifestyles. Is there a moment from the books you can't wait to be depicted on the show? And this is from Yosha Stradowski. Again, this is really cool. It's definitely the box. There's a moment where Rand goes into the box, they cage him, and he's completely breaking down. I love all the moments where as a reader you go, I don't see how he can take this much pain. I don't see how they can take more away from him at this point. But then he still keeps on going. So that's where I see that he's the dragon when he goes through these ultimate tests that really no one else can go through other than him. The journey is what I love about Rand's arc. Now, Yosha has said it a number of times. He's read the series and now he's rereading them. He is a fan. He loves the Wheel of Time. He loves his character. He's really diving into it. And I think it shows a whole lot. And I'm pretty excited to see his portrayal of Rand as the dragon in the second season. All right, up next is CG Mag Online, and this is from Rosamund Pike, and she talks a little bit about Rand being the central figure of the books, but Moiraine is tethered to him. Now, I've said this a whole lot. I don't think there's any main characters in the Wheel of Time. There's a ton of very central characters, prominent characters, and Rand is certainly the most central of all of them. So she does say she has less to do in Season 2. All of us have less to do than we did in Season 1 because we're making room for new characters, for new Aes Sedai, the Shan-Chan. We have new villains coming to play, very important new villains that we're not allowed to talk about. And one of those, obviously, is Selene for the second season. I'm pretty excited about that. Moiraine is not central to those books, so we're trying to make her the dominant... We're not trying to make her, rather, the dominant figure of Seasons 2 or 3. Really very cool. And now, I know that Moiraine was sort of marketed and billed as the main character of Season 1. It's shifting now. little bit. Rosamund Pike is a producer on the show. She is a huge actress, a very famous household name that brings a lot of eyes to the show and a ton of talent. And that she's going to be taking a back seat to other characters just a little bit goes to show that her passion for the project is not overweighing or is not outweighed by her need to be the lead character, which is amazing. I'm really glad to see that. And of course, I really hope to see a ton of Moiraine as well. We know that she doesn't have much to do in The Great Hunt or The Dragon Reborn, and they're going to create a new storyline for her. I'm excited to see what it be, because I do like a lot of the changes that they're doing with that, because it just gives us more and different Wheel of Time. All right, so now we have a quote from Yosha, and it's about Rand. Rand is talking about how he has learned from a young age that if you channel one power as a man, you're going to go mad, die, and kill everyone around you. That's a central plot line in the books. He knows this, and it's part of the reason he pushes his friends away. He does that in The Great Hunt, and he's going to do it again in the show. That's why he went out on his own. Now, the start of Season 2, it says that he'll be in a place where he's taking care of people who struggle with mental health, and that, funnily enough, is a place where he can be himself. I'm pretty excited to see how they portray the madness in the show, because in the book series, it was just madness, and then much later, it became specific types of madness that were different for each person. So if they choose to show them as mental health struggles in different ways, especially ones that parallel to things that we see ourselves in our world today, I think it might be very interesting and engaging for the viewers. Either way, I'm excited to see how they show these scenes and showcase how Rand feels, because that's a big part of his character, showing his inner turmoil throughout the series. I'm excited either way. Next bit is about Marcus and wolves. So he talks about being on set with real animals, and that to me is very exciting. So it's not going to be the CG warg we've seen in Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. I've mentioned that about 1,000,000 times, and of course I'm going to keep mentioning it because it's such a sore spot for me. It was so terrible. They actually use real animals, wolf dogs, that were from the surrounding areas. WatSeries.com has done a number of articles about them, and they actually released an article recently about which wolf dog is playing Hopper, which is really very neat. I can't wait to see that. The next one comes from TV Line, and this one, it teased the romance between Moiraine and Swan in Season 1, but Rosamund Pike actually says that we're going to see the moment they were charged with finding the Dragon Reborn in Season 2, which to me is very exciting. We're actually getting New Spring flashbacks, which I can't wait to see. A lot of really cool stuff happened in New Spring. It's a prequel novel to The Wheel of Time, and I can't wait to see that actual scene, because we all kind of thought we might see it in Season 1 and we didn't. They're going to show it in Season 2. It makes me and a lot of other fans pretty happy. Now, this next one is from Looper. They're talking about guest stars. Do either of you have dream guest stars you'd love to see in the show? And Pike says we're getting a few, and they talk about them. So one of them we already know about. Lindsay Duncan, WatSeries.com leaked that a very long time ago. And Rosamund Pike was very excited about that, but she did say we're getting a few. So there's likely some other big guest stars we're going to see throughout the series that we don't know about just yet. And I can't wait to see who they are and how they fit in and what characters are going to play. Because in in Game of Thrones, rather, they had a number of guest stars much later on in the seasons. And I'm wondering if the Wheel of Time will do the same. So the second last article we have here is from Premiere. This one is in French. Like every other language, my French is terrible. I can read it and understand it, but speaking it, whole different matter. So I'll have my son read this little snippet for you that I thought was very interesting, and I'll give you the Cole's notes of the English translation.
Premier. Au terme de la saison 1, Moiraine perd l'entièreté de ses pouvoirs. Dans quel état la retrouvons-nous? Rosamund Pike. Moiraine n'est plus la même femme. Elle est traumatisée et isolée, comme un animal blessé qui repousse tout ce qui lui s'approche. Dans ce monde, être coupé de pouvoir unique pour une femme est l'un des traumatismes les plus douloureux, équivalent à la perte d'un enfant. Vous allez donc voir comment un personnage jusqu'ici incroyablement puissant va tenter d'affronter son ennemi en étant privé de sa plus grande âme.
All right, so what it basically says is Moiraine isn't the same woman anymore. She's traumatized and alone like a hurt animal. She pushes away everyone close to her in this world. To be cut from the one power for a woman is one of the most painful traumas, equivalent to the loss of a child. You'll see how a character who up to this point is incredibly powerful will try to overcome this enemy. Really very, very neat. And again, thank you so much to my son for helping me translate that. My French speaking abilities are little to none, but it's great to have someone in the house who's bilingual. Now, the final article we have here is from GameSpot, and this talks a little bit about Rand's darkness. Now, Yosha talks a bit about how it's essential to Rand's character. At some point, it becomes villainous as well. To me, Rand is really becoming dark, but I feel it is the only way he can beat the dark because he understands it. It is not like he plays it. It's not like taking on some character, even though it's all of those traumas added up. That's why he is eventually able to face the Dark One. I think that's just very exciting and different. Really very, very neat. Now, there are a ton more articles out there, but these are the ones I was able to gather at the time of this particular recording. And these are just snippets of them. Again, I've listed them all down below. Please, if you love the Wheel of Time and you love what's going on here, visit each and every one of them and read them in full. There's a lot of really great information from all of the cast there, and their excitement really shines through about the series. Now, we're going to talk just a bit about a couple of YouTube videos here, and I'm really surprised at the number of views some of them have. All right, so the YouTube videos are all recordings of interviews with a lot of the cast. Now, they range in YouTube channels that have a few thousand subscribers, but maybe really big podcast base, all the way up to YouTube videos with millions of subscribers. Like, it really, really big channels. But either way, a lot of these videos didn't really have a ton of views, anywhere from a few hundred views up to just a few thousand. Even the YouTube channels that have over 1 million subs at the time of this recording really only had 11 or 12,000 views in their videos. So I'm not going to go through each and every one of these videos and give you a Cole's Notes or a synopsis of what's going on here. What I'm going to ask you folks, if you can, is to go to these videos and watch them yourselves. I've left a link to each and every one of them down below in the description box, because let's face it, the more eyes we get on Wheel of Time stuff, the more Wheel of Time content we're going to get. Now, a big shout out here to Whiskey and Magic on X, or formerly known as Twitter. What they did is they took a ton of these interviews and put them in a thread on X for all of the fandom to enjoy. Now, I know a lot of you aren't on X. A lot of you didn't have a Twitter account before it changed over, and probably will never get one now. I've been told that a number of times. But if you're not, again, I've taken the list that Whiskey and Magic had put up. Thank you so very much for that, by the way. And I've added a couple of other ones here that I found, and I put them all down below in the description box. So if you folks want to go through them and watch them, they are absolutely fantastic. Now, the biggest takeaway from every one of these interviews is how excited the cast is. They are really very excited about Season 2. It shines through in every one of their interviews. You can see their faces light up. You can see how happy and passionate they are about this project. And it just fills my Wheel of Time fandom heart to the brim with just the pure joy that these people are showing as they're giving these interviews. And they know their characters well, they know the fandom, and they reference a lot of really niche things. It's really very neat. So again, the YouTube channels are Rama's Screen, the Movie Podcast, LRM Online, the Character Sheet on comicbook.com, Screen Rant Plus, Flip Your Wig, Television Academy, and comicbook.com. All different YouTube channels, all with multiple interviews with some of the cast, and they're all very good, so please go check them out. Now, of course, we're probably going to get a ton more Wheel of Time news in the next couple of days. Watch for more videos from me. Of course, as news breaks, I will release them here on the channel, and I am prepping right now for Season 2. You will get reviews, Easter egg videos, breakdowns, news, leaks, rumors, all of that stuff all the way throughout the season and into Season 3. If you like all of that sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm like 3 subs away right now from 20,000, which has been my goal for the last year or so to get. So if you haven't already subscribed, maybe you'll be number 20,000. Thank you so very much for sticking with me here to the very end. Here's to many more.